My girlfriend knew my system mission was to win her over, yet she publicly rejected my marriage proposals 99 times. On the 100th proposal, she unexpectedly put on the ring I gave her. I thought she was finally going to accept, but the next second she laughed, aimed her phone at my face for a live stream, and joked to her million viewers, "Hey everyone, I'm so tired of this rejection game. Anyone like being proposed to by a good-for-nothing? I'll rent 'em out to you. $2 a pop, first come, first served." In that moment, I became a laughingstock for the entire country. She looked down at my pathetic state, gloating, "As long as I don't accept your proposal, you can never leave me. If you want me to marry you and complete your mission, you'll just have to keep trying." But she didn't know I wasn't bound by a marriage system, but a rejection system. As long as she rejected me 100 times, I could resurrect my beloved fiancée and be free of her for good. Chapter 1. Sincere Sterling, next time you propose, please try to be a little more creative. Otherwise, rejecting you is just no fun. At the proposal site, Cassandra Thorne looked at me mockingly as I knelt on one knee, her tone dripping with ridicule. Her entourage of friends chimed in, laughing, "Exactly. Sincere, you should dress up as a clown next time and do some tricks for us. Oh, look at him tremble. Is he getting angry? Cassie has rejected him 100 times and he's still pathetically clinging to her. How dare he be angry? I bet if she told him to eat garbage, he'd come crawling over for it." The piercing laughter rose and fell, and my body trembled uncontrollably. But it wasn't from anger, nor was it from humiliation. It was because I had finally collected Cassandra Thorne's 100th rejection 3 years ago. My fiancée, Victoria Ames, died in a car crash while saving me. I was devastated. That's when the system found me. It told me that if I could accumulate 100 rejections from Cassandra Thorne, Victoria could be resurrected. Faced with this sudden glimmer of hope, I wept with joy and accepted on the spot. I began engineering chance encounters with Cassandra, constantly fawning over her and pleasing her with no regard for my own dignity. She told me, a non-swimmer, to jump into a pool to retrieve her ring, and I obediently did so. She deliberately fed me food I was allergic to just to watch my pained reaction, and I never resisted. In an instant, I became the most famous lapdog in all of Crestview. Friends, family, and strangers alike looked at me with contempt. And when Cassandra discovered I was a system user and that she was my target, she became even more addicted to the game. She thought I was bound to a marriage system, believing that as long as she didn't agree to marry me, I could never leave her. So she toyed with me wantonly. But she was wrong. I was bound to a rejection system. Today was her final rejection. My beloved fiancé could finally be brought back to life. Sincere, are you about to cry? This is only my 100th time rejecting you. Now get over here and shine my shoes. This little drama has gone on long enough. I need to go have dinner with Julian. Cassandra stood with her arms crossed, a playful look on her face. She was waiting for me to react with my usual pained jealousy, to crawl over and shine her shoes, and to beg her not to go on a date with Julian Vance. Julian was her best male friend and my supposed rival. In the past, I would not only act jealous and frantic, but I would also desperately plead for her to spend more time with me. But I never actually cared about her and Julian. I only did it to give her the pleasure of controlling me, so she would continue playing the rejection game with me. Now that the mission was finally complete, I no longer had to feign devotion. I ignored her, got to my feet, and turned to leave. Cassandra froze for a moment, her face clouding over with anger. "Sincere, what's the meaning of this? I told you to kneel and shine my shoes, didn't you hear me?" she commanded. Everyone present assumed I wouldn't dare defy Cassandra's order and urged me on. "Yeah, Sincere, hurry up and kneel down. Otherwise, Cassie won't even give you a chance to propose next time. Come on, stop dawdling." Just as I was about to speak, Cassandra strode up to me in her towering stilettos, stuck out her foot, and gave me a cold glare. "Begin." Looking at her arrogant posture, I finally said the words I had suppressed for so long. "Get some help, Cassandra. Do you really think you're a princess?" My words made Cassandra's face turn ugly. She pointed at me, speechless for a long moment. The crowd stared at each other in shock. The ever-obedient lamb had actually shown its claws? When Cassandra finally recovered, she flew into a rage. "Sincere, have you lost your mind? How dare you disobey me? You well, haven't seen you in a few days, and Sincere is proposing to Cassie again?" Just then, a fashionable young man walked over. He surveyed the scene with a smirk. "If I'm not mistaken, this is the 100th time Cassie has rejected him?" He shot me a sympathetic look, his tone mocking despite his pretense of comfort. "Don't worry, keep at it, go for number 101 and win Cassie over seeing Julian." Cassandra's expression softened slightly. She took his arm and shot me a glare. "Jules, you have no idea how bold Sincere has gotten. I told him to shine my shoes and he started cussing me out. How could I possibly agree to marry a man like that?" Julian seemed surprised that I would dare to insult Cassandra and deliberately fan the flames. Maybe poor Sincere is just heartbroken after being rejected so many times. Cassandra just snorted in disdain. Heartbroken? A shameless pest like him. Can he even feel heartbreak? Have you forgotten how pathetic he was, clinging to me for the past 3 years? She shot me another impatient glance, her expression as haughty as ever. "Sincere, get on your knees and apologize right now. I might forgive your disrespect, otherwise—" Before she could finish, I let out a cold laugh and turned to walk away. Cassandra stood there, stunned. For the first time, she felt humiliated. She chased after me a few steps, furious. "Sincere, how dare you walk out that door, and don't you dare regret it." I paid her no mind and strode out of the banquet hall. Finding a quiet corner, I silently summoned the system. "System, I've been rejected by Cassandra Thorne 100 times. The mission is complete. Can Victoria be resurrected now?" A ding sounded in my mind and the system replied, "Congratulations, host. Your mission contract with Cassandra Thorne has officially ended in 3 days. Your fiancé will be successfully resurrected." Chapter 2. Hearing the system's confirmation, my heart surged with excitement. After 3 long years of enduring humiliation, the girl I loved could finally come back to me. I could still vividly remember Victoria lying in my arms, covered in blood, weakly saying that her biggest regret in life was never getting to wear a wedding dress and accept my proposal. Now I finally had a chance to make it up to her. I immediately went to the best bridal boutique in town, but before I could even enter, Cassandra called. She started with her usual commanding tone. "Sincere, I'm at Eclat Bridal with Jules for a photo shoot. Jules is thirsty. You have 3 minutes to bring him a glass of warm water, and remember, Jules has a sensitive stomach. The water can't be over 105 degrees. She hung up before I could say a word, as domineering as ever. I paid her no mind and walked straight into Eclat Bridal Boutique. As soon as I entered, I saw Cassandra in a stunning white mermaid wedding dress, admiring herself in the mirror while joking with Julian. "Jules, when that good-for-nothing gets here and sees me in a wedding dress for you, he's going to have another jealous fit. Don't pay him any mind. If there's any dirty work to be done, just make him do it." As she was speaking, Cassandra noticed me. She paused for a second but showed no embarrassment at being caught talking about me behind my back. Instead, she raised an eyebrow and said arrogantly, "Sincere, I was starting to think you'd grown a spine and would actually stop taking my orders. But I guess you still can't stay away from me. Did you follow me all the way here?" I was about to deny her narcissistic assumption, but Cassandra cut me off confidently. "Don't even try to explain. If you weren't following me, how could you have possibly shown up right after I called? All right, where's the warm water I told you to bring for Jules?" She held out her hand arrogantly, but I just said flatly, "I didn't bring it." Cassandra's face darkened. She pointed a finger at me and snapped, "You didn't bring it? Then what the hell are you doing in here? Now get out and get me that water. If you don't listen, you'll see how I deal with you." Her public berating drew glances from the shop assistants and other customers. Everyone looked at me with pity. It was rare to see a man so spineless in front of a woman. Julian quickly tried to smooth things over with a laugh. "Oh, it's fine, I'm not thirsty anymore." Cassie, Sincere is still angry about you rejecting him 100 times. Why would he be willing to do anything for me? I'm lucky he hasn't punched me at his words. Cassandra's gaze on me grew even more disdainful. Sincere, I think you've really gotten too big for your britches. I tell you to kneel and shine my shoes, you refuse. I tell you to bring water for Jules, you refuse. What are you trying to do? Rebel against me? I'm going to count to 3. Get out and get the water. 3, 2. She stared at me, certain I wouldn't dare still be standing there when she got to 1. But this time, I didn't even look at her. I walked straight to a sales assistant who was watching the show and said calmly, I'd like to order a custom wedding dress. The bride's measurements are 34, 24, 34. I need it within 3 days. Seeing me ignore her, Cassandra's face fell, and she was about to explode with anger. But when she heard I was ordering a wedding dress, her expression shifted to one of subtle triumph, and she let out a cold snort. Idiot, my measurements are 32, 24, 33. You can't even remember my size, and you're ordering a dress for me? Her expression held an air of magnanimously letting me off the hook. Fine, I won't hold it against you. I was wondering what had gotten into you today. So, you were just trying a new tactic to get my attention. I can see right through these little tricks. Looking at Cassandra's self-righteous act, I couldn't be bothered to explain. I simply told the assistant, make it to the measurements I gave you. After paying the deposit, I turned to leave, but Cassandra, enraged by being ignored again and again, blocked my path. Sincere, what the hell do you think you're doing? I'm already giving you an out, so why are you playing hard to get? Are you trying to make me reject you forever so your mission completely fails? Others wouldn't understand her words, but I knew she was threatening me. Cassandra thought that as long as she refused my proposals, I could never complete my system mission, so she could manipulate me as she pleased. But she had miscalculated. My mission was already complete. Do as you please. I tossed out the words coolly and walked out the door. That night I didn't return to the apartment I had rented near Cassandra's place to pursue her. Instead, I went to the hospital. When I first learned there was a chance to resurrect Victoria, I'd gone against everyone's advice and insisted on having her body cryogenically preserved. I visited her periodically. Today, she still lay cold on the platform, but we were finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Vicky, just 2 more days and we'll see each other again. I held her icy hand, trying hard to suppress the love that swelled in my heart. Just then, Cassandra called. I declined several times, but she kept calling back as if her life depended on it. Losing my patience, I answered. What is it? Cassandra's voice, full of rage, faltered for a moment when she heard my cold tone. Then, she said irritably, I went to your apartment to find you. Why weren't you home? Don't you know Lucky needs you to play with him every day? Get your ass back here now. Lucky was Cassandra's most pampered dog. In the past, to toy with me, she demanded that I go play with her dog every day, only to then look down on me and scold. Sincere, you should learn from Lucky. You're not even as good as a dog at knowing how to please me during that time. My dignity was shattered, but I gritted my teeth and continued to curry her favor. But when I did as she commanded, she would look at me with disgust and curse me. Sincere, you really are a clingy stray dog. I get annoyed just looking at you. Now that I was no longer clinging to her, she was demanding I come back. I said flatly, Cassandra, I've already moved out of that place. Before I could finish, Cassandra interrupted in disbelief. What did you say? Moved out? After a few seconds of silence, she seemed to have a realization, and her tone suddenly softened. Is it because I rejected you 100 times and you've completely lost confidence? You don't even have that much perseverance, and you want to marry me? So useless. Fine, I'll give you another chance. This time I'll seriously consider accepting. Is that good enough for you? Cassandra spoke with a gracious tone, as if she were bestowing a great favor upon me, expecting me to once again start fawning over her with renewed vigor. In the past, I would have done exactly that, acting exceptionally humble to deliberately provoke her disgust and earn another rejection. But this time I didn't need to pretend anymore. I refused her outright. No thank you. Cassandra, you and I are over. Chapter 3. Cassandra paused, her voice tinged with anger and humiliation. Sincere, do you know what you're saying? If I don't accept your proposal, your mission will, I know. It's over. With that, I hung up and began preparing to welcome Victoria back. Over the next 2 days, Cassandra frequently posted photos of herself and Julian on social media. They had their arms around each other and wore matching outfits, clearly trying to provoke me. In the past, I would have pretended to be angry and jealous. But now I had no time to pay her any attention. I was completely focused on setting up a proposal scene for Victoria. I had been looking forward to this proposal for 3 years. Unlike the 100 fake proposals to Cassandra, which were all staged by people I hired, this time I did everything myself, hoping only to see Victoria happy when she returned. The night I finished setting up the venue, I contacted Victoria's family to pick her up from the hospital. I fought the urge to see her immediately, staying home to personally craft her diamond engagement ring, carefully polishing every detail. Just then, Cassandra, who I hadn't heard from in 2 days, called. I didn't see the caller ID and accidentally answered. For the first time ever, she didn't start with a command. Instead, her voice was surprisingly calm and indulgent. Sincere, I've thought about it these past 2 days. In light of all the years you've spent trying to please me, I've decided to marry you. Prepare the proposal for tomorrow, but listen closely to my demands. For the engagement ring, I want a 10-carat diamond. The proposal venue must be grand and luxurious to match my status. Also, Cassandra went on, but I wasn't really listening. I was focused on polishing the details of Victoria's ring, wanting it to be perfectly comfortable for her to wear. When she finished and I remained silent, she prompted impatiently, Sincere, are you even listening? Did you hear my requirements? If I'm not satisfied, I can take back my promise to marry you. At any time, I gave a non-committal hum and hung up. The next morning, I had the wedding dress sent to Victoria's house and waited at the proposal venue. The thought of finally seeing the woman I loved most made me both excited and nervous. My palms were sweating. Sincere, I'm here. A woman's voice suddenly sounded at the entrance. Cassandra, wearing a wedding dress, walked toward me with her chin held high, a confident look on her face. She surveyed the scene with satisfaction and teased, Sincere, you say you want to break up with me, but your actions speak louder than words. This proposal setup is actually quite impressive. I frowned at her. Before I could speak, Cassandra walked past me and up onto the stage. She picked up the ring box I had placed on the table, opened it herself, and a flash of admiration crossed her eyes. She raised an eyebrow smugly. Did you make this ring yourself? I didn't think you'd put so much effort into this for me. Seeing this, I quickly went over and snatched the ring back. It's not for you, I said coldly. Cassandra's face fell, annoyed that I would dare snatch something from her hands. But then she seemed to understand. Oh, you're afraid of messing up the ceremony, right? Fine, I'll call my friends over now. She took out her phone and sent a voice message to her group chat. Sincere's 101st proposal to me. Get over here quick. In less than 10 minutes her entourage arrived, teasing Cassandra. Cassie, you're just too charming. Even after you reject this good-for-nothing 100 times, he still keeps coming back. This proposal is clearly more thought out than the others. He's really a glutton for punishment. Cassandra grew even more smug, of course. He even made the diamond ring himself. With that, she started a live stream, filming the proposal scene and boasting to her audience, Everyone, take a look. This is Sincere's 101st proposal to me. Nicely done this time, right? Soon the number of viewers climbed to 1 million, and the comments flooded in. This loser Sincere is such an embarrassment to all men. He's still proposing after being rejected 100 times by Cassandra Thorne? Has he no shame? He's the king of all losers. Watching the viewers' contemptuous comments, Cassandra was extremely satisfied. With a superior air, she commanded me, "You may begin your proposal to me now." I looked at her coldly, at her narcissistic display, and said nothing. The crowd in the Livestream audience began to chant, "Propose already, what are you standing there for? Cassie is giving you a chance, propose, you pathetic lapdog," amidst the jeering and urging. Victoria, wearing the magnificent wedding dress I had custom made for her, appeared quietly, smiling as she walked toward me. When I saw the woman I loved, my heart jolted. Overwhelmed with joy, I ignored Cassandra and the others and excitedly started toward her. But when Cassandra saw Victoria, she grabbed my arm, her face a mask of shock and displeasure as she questioned me, "Sincere, who is this woman?" I didn't even bother to look at her. I shook her off, strode over to Victoria, pulled out the ring, and knelt on one knee, gazing at her with deep affection. My voice was thick with emotion as I asked, "Vicky, will you marry me?" At that moment, the entire venue fell silent. The Livestream chat exploded with comments. Cassandra's face went deathly pale. Watching me propose to Victoria, she was so furious that her body swayed and she collapsed to the floor. Chapter 4. Sincere, what the hell are you doing? Cassandra shrieked, her body trembling with such rage that she couldn't even stand up. Her friends rushed over to help her. I completely ignored the commotion from Cassandra's side, my eyes fixed on Victoria, waiting for her answer. I do. A blush crept onto Victoria's pale cheeks. Although she was confused by the scene with the other people, her eyes were only for me. Victoria pulled me to my feet. She cautiously reached out, wanting to touch my cheek but hesitating. Tears welled in her eyes as she choked out, "Sincere, I never thought I'd see you again. I've missed you so much." A complex mix of bittersweet joy filled my heart, and I pulled her into a tight embrace. "From now on, we'll be together forever. We'll never be apart again," I promised forcefully. We were lost in each other's eyes. Just then, Cassandra, having completely broken down, rushed over and shoved us apart, demanding furiously, "Sincere, who is this woman? Are you doing this just to spite me? How could you propose to another woman? How could you?" She was so angry her eyes turned red. Her violent push almost made Victoria lose her footing. I immediately shoved Cassandra away, rushed to steady Victoria, and asked with concern, "Vicky, are you okay? Don't be afraid, I'm here." Victoria looked at the hysterical Cassandra with confusion and asked softly, "And she is?" I shot a cold glance at Cassandra, who was now even more furious after I'd pushed her away. "Just an irrelevant bystander," I said flatly. "Cassandra, if you dare lay a hand on my fiancé again, I won't let you get away with it." Cassandra's chest heaved with anger, tears spilling from her eyes. She stared at how I defended Victoria, how I had so heartlessly pushed her away, and her eyes reddened. "Sincere, you've gone too far." In that moment she wanted to command me as she always had, but the words wouldn't come. My eyes were filled with nothing but Victoria. I wouldn't give her so much as a second glance, let alone obey her orders. The realization of this fact filled her with a nameless dread and an indescribable pain. Just then, the onlooking friends began to whisper among themselves, "What's going on? The great romantic Sincere doesn't want Cassie anymore? He and that woman, they look so in love. What happened? Sincere is so cold to Cassie now, but I somehow find him so much more attractive. Oh my God, on the 101st try, Sincere proposed to someone else. I guess it makes sense. Who could keep going after 100 rejections? If you ask me, if Cassie was ever interested in Sincere, she should have said yes a long time ago." Every word reached Cassandra's ears. The ever-proud princess had never been in such a humiliating position. She gritted her teeth, glaring at Victoria and me holding hands. She approached us again, demanding stubbornly, "Sincere, if you abandon me and propose to another woman, aren't you afraid your mission will fail? You've persisted in pleasing me for 3 years. Are you really going to let all that effort go to waste?" When I didn't answer, Cassandra's voice grew sharper, trembling slightly. "I'm ordering you now. Break up with this woman and propose to me again. I'll say yes, I'm only giving you one chance. Now do it now, Chapter 5. The sight of Victoria and me holding hands made her face twist with rage. But she couldn't imagine why I would refuse. For 3 whole years, why else would I have constantly tried to please her if not to marry her? But I just let out a cold laugh. You think a little too highly of yourself, Cassandra. The woman I love most in this world is Victoria, so of course she's the one I'm going to marry. Now take these people and get out, or I'm calling security. Perhaps my forceful attitude was the final blow to her pride. Cassandra looked like she was about to throw another tantrum, but I had already called security and had her and her entire entourage thrown out. Sincere, you scumbag, you animal. You'd better hope you never have to come begging to me. Cassandra screamed as she was being dragged away. After a while, it was finally quiet. Victoria watched the whole spectacle with a frown. Sincere, what on earth is going on? I hesitated, unsure if I should tell her the whole truth. After all, what woman would want to hear that right after she died, her boyfriend immediately started pursuing another woman, fawning over her, and even getting rejected 100 times? But Cassandra had already made a scene. Not explaining would only make Victoria's imagination run wild. After a long pause, I finally spoke. Vicky, after your accident, I was bound to a mysterious system. It said that if I pursued Cassandra Thorne and was rejected by her 100 times, you could be resurrected. So I couldn't bring myself to describe how I had groveled before Cassandra. I expected Victoria to be disgusted with me, to resent me for being with another woman. But the next second, her eyes turned red. Tears streamed down her face. She threw herself into my arms and sobbed softly. Sincere, you've suffered so much. If it weren't for me, you would never have let someone bully you like that. That woman just now, she was so cruel to you. I can't even imagine how you got through the last 3 years. Victoria couldn't stop crying, and a wave of warmth washed over my heart. She was still the same gentle, understanding woman from 3 years ago, always thinking of me. The thought that I had gotten a second chance with her in this lifetime filled my heart with a poignant joy, and I felt the urge to cry myself. Vicky, don't cry, it's okay. You've already said yes. Just take some time to recover, and then we'll get married for real, okay? I gently tapped the tip of her nose. Victoria's tears turned to laughter. She took my arm, and soon our friends and family arrived to offer their blessings. The party lasted until evening. On the way to take Victoria home, I suddenly got a call from one of Cassandra's friends. I was about to hang up, but Victoria, worried something might be wrong, told me to answer. She added, Sincere, I can tell that Miss Thorne, she's fallen for you. She got used to having you around for the past 3 years. That's why she was so angry, so hurt, when you proposed to me. Chapter 6. I just shook my head. Someone like Cassandra is just upset that she's lost a dog she could toy with. She likes me? I'm not so lucky as to marry a wealthy heiress like her. Victoria gave me an amused look. But there was also relief in her heart. She said softly, All right, let's just hear what she wants. When I answered the phone, Cassandra's friend sounded frantic. Sincere, is that you? You need to get to the Nocturne Lounge right now. Cassie is drunk and causing a scene, saying she's going to spend the night with Julian. You love her so much you can't let her do that. Hurry up and come over. I could hear a cacophony of noise in the background. I could faintly make out Cassandra's drunken shouts, Don't call that jerk, I don't need him to manage my life if he wants to marry. Some other woman, let him, I'm leaving with Jules. There was the sound of a glass shattering, and the friend spoke again urgently. Sincere, you heard that, right? Please, get here quickly. In the passenger seat, Victoria looked at me, an unreadable tension in her beautiful eyes. I squeezed her cold hand with my right one. Then I spoke into the phone. Whatever she does is none of my business. I'm hanging up. Just as I motioned for Victoria to hang up for me, Cassandra's furious voice came through the phone. Sincere, you bastard, you were the one who came after me first. You were the one who... How could you just abandon me? How could you propose to another woman?" By the end, her voice had dissolved into sobs and choked whimpers. I frowned, not understanding what Cassandra's deal was. How could someone who delighted in trampling on others' dignity expect anyone to stick around and be her doormat forever? Her crying did nothing for me. Even if she had developed some shred of feeling for me, I would never feel anything positive for her. The one I loved had always been Victoria. After hanging up, I drove Victoria home. We shared a few tender moments downstairs before I reluctantly left. When I got back to my own place and was about to unlock the door, a voice suddenly called out from the darkness. Sincere, a figure stepped out of the shadows. It was Cassandra. Her face was slightly puffy and her eyes were red. Always so meticulous about her appearance, her makeup was now smudged. "Are you really going to give up on me, Sincere?" Chapter 7. I frowned and turned to face her. "That's right. I've already made myself clear." At my words, the sadness in Cassandra's eyes became even harder to contain. She seemed to have summoned all her courage to choke out, "Sincere, please don't be like this. I know I was wrong. It was wrong of me to reject you 100 times. I'll marry you. I'll help you complete your mission. Please, will you forgive me?" I was taken aback by her reaction. I had expected my words to once again wound her pride, to make her lash out at me with accusations. But Cassandra was actually backing down? The high and mighty arrogant heiress was backing down to a pathetic lapdog like me? It was unbelievable. But it was useless now. Cassandra, there was never a possibility for us. The one I loved, and had only ever loved, was Victoria. Cassandra shook her head desperately, tears streaming down her face as she clung to my hand. "No, don't say that. Sincere, the truth is, I liked you from the first moment I saw you. It was only when I found out you were pursuing me because of a mission that I got angry and started deliberately bullying you. Every time I rejected you, I wanted to see that you cared about me. It was the only way I could keep you by my side." It was as if she had completely shattered her own pride, confessing in a broken voice, "I love you. I really do love you. You were always trying to please me, but I could see that defiant spark deep inside you. I knew you didn't love me as much as you pretended, and that just made me want to bully you more, to force you to fall in love with me. But why? After 3 years, why is there still no place for me in your heart? Sincere, even if not for my sake, for the sake of your mission, please forgive me, I'll marry you. I promise." Chapter 8. This was the first time I had ever heard what was truly in Cassandra's heart. She actually liked me, but I didn't know how to respond. I didn't even know what she saw in me to like. After a long silence, I finally said, "You don't like me. You just wanted to torture me because you knew my system mission was to win you over and that I needed to marry you. But I'm telling you now, the system I was bound to wasn't a marriage system. It was a rejection system. Once I collected 100 rejections from you, my mission was complete." At that moment, Cassandra froze completely. Tears hung on her cheeks, her expression one of utter disbelief. I continued, "With the mission complete, I could resurrect the woman I truly love, Victoria Ames." As I said this, Cassandra's eyes flew wide open. "So, everything you did, you pursued me all for that woman?" I nodded. Cassandra clutched her chest and broke into racking sobs. "Sincere, you're a bastard, you're a liar, a swindler." I just frowned and said calmly, "I admit it was wrong of me to approach you with an ulterior motive, but for all these years you knew I was with you for a mission, and yet you still trampled all over my dignity without a second thought. Perhaps you've forgotten. You threw your ring into the pool and ordered me, a non-swimmer, to jump in and get it for you. You wanted to see what an allergic reaction looked like, so you forced me to eat food that would trigger one. You made me spend a night outside in a blizzard. You made me kneel on the street and profess my love to you. Is that what you call love?" Recalling the past humiliations, a frost crept into my eyes, but I still tried to control my emotions as I looked at her. "Do you call any of that love, Cassandra?" Chapter 9. Cassandra was stunned. She opened her mouth several times to argue, as if gathering her courage, but no words came out. She was right. If it was love, how could she have treated me like that? Perhaps it was just her nature. She was used to being proud, to having others grovel at her feet. Yet, what had attracted her was the cold, resilient heart hidden beneath my pretense of devotion. Cassandra, I love Victoria. From the very beginning, that has never changed. Victoria is my son. We met in middle school and knew we were meant for each other. She would stay up all night making notes just so I could understand my homework, and we could get into the same high school, and then the same university. She saved my life, nearly dying herself, when she jumped into the ocean to rescue me after I fell in. The moment the car crash happened, her first instinct was to throw herself in front of me to take the fatal blow. She is so gentle and wonderful.
What on earth made you think I would fall in love with you in just 3 short years?
The barrage of questions left Cassandra standing there, completely dumbfounded. I said no more, walked past her, and went home. That night, Cassandra sat outside my door until the early hours of the morning before finally leaving. In the days that followed, I spent every free moment with Victoria trying to make up for my 3-year absence. In a complete reversal, Cassandra posted a public apology to me on her social media, saying she was wrong and shouldn't have treated the man she loved most that way. She also deleted all the short videos of her toying with me. The internet exploded. Did Cassandra Thorne actually fall in love with that loser Sincere? Did Sincere Sterling actually dump Cassandra Thorne? What kind of alternate universe is this? I've been offline for just a few days. Is this what they call a desperate, last-ditch attempt to win someone back? Not only that, but if any of Cassandra's friends dared to make a joke about me in her presence, she would immediately slap them and cut ties on the spot. One of her friends had simply said, "Is that loser really worth chasing after?" Cassandra began trying to atone for her past mistakes, but her friends only served as constant reminders of how horribly she had treated me over the years. I heard all of this from mutual friends. One of them even asked me, "So in those 3 years, did you ever actually fall in love with Cassandra? She seems to be deeply in love with you now. The more she bullied you then, the more she seems to care about you now." I just replied flatly, "Whatever she does, it has nothing to do with me anymore." I paid no attention to Cassandra's transformation and instead began planning my wedding with Victoria. This was what I had dreamed of my entire life. On the day we set the wedding date, I was having dinner with Victoria when Cassandra suddenly appeared. She walked over to us, the old arrogance and superiority gone from her eyes, replaced by a serious expression. "Sincere, I've decided to pursue you again. I'll compete with Victoria fairly. Everything Victoria has done for you, I can do too. My family is wealthier than hers and I love you more than she does. Please, just give me one chance." Even with Victoria's good nature, she was starting to get annoyed. Who could tolerate someone trying to steal their boyfriend right in front of them? She looked directly at Cassandra. "Miss Thorne, I believe you are now fully aware of the truth of the past 3 years. If you had cherished Sincere at all during that time, I wouldn't be here today. Please have some self-respect. I found it amusing to see Victoria get jealous for my sake." I took her hand and smiled dotingly. "All right, why get angry with her? She's just an outsider." Then I looked at Cassandra coolly. "I told you I don't like you and I never have. You can go now." Chapter 10. Cassandra stood there, stunned, her face turning shades of red and white. In the days that followed, whenever Victoria and I went out, she would appear and try to strike up a conversation. Cassandra's pride was completely gone. Even though I rejected her again and again, sometimes with harsh words, I felt a strange sense of conquest rise within her. The more I pushed her away, the more determined she seemed to become. The day Victoria and I officially registered our marriage, she finally broke down, leaving in a flood of tears and nearly getting into a car accident. Later on my wedding day with Victoria, Cassandra showed up, dressed to the nines but only watched me from a distance. She didn't cause a scene this time. She just kept drinking, trying to numb herself. I heard she was in a daze for a long time after that, staying home and refusing to go out, as if she had suffered a great shock. A month after my wedding, Cassandra got together with Julian Vance. Their wedding was very low-key, not many people knew about it. Julian even tried to flaunt their relationship in front of me, but when he saw I didn't care in the slightest, he gradually lost interest. I thought Cassandra had finally moved on from me, but less than 2 years later I heard that she and Julian had divorced. Apparently, Cassandra complained that Julian wasn't as obedient and accommodating as I had been, and she couldn't stand him. Julian, in turn, was fed up with Cassandra's temper and princess complex. Their divorce was a messy affair. They even got into a physical fight at the courthouse, which became a local news story. 10 years later, my marriage to Victoria was as happy as ever. On our 10th anniversary, Cassandra, whom I hadn't seen in years, came to see me. The affection in her eyes was still there, as deep as ever. The arrogant, haughty woman of the past was gone. She was much more mature and quiet now. She asked me softly, sincere, "There's a question I've wanted to ask you all these years. Your system mission required 100% rejections from me to be complete. But what if I had accepted one of your proposals within those 100 times? What would have happened to you?" I was silent for a long time before answering quietly. That would have meant the mission failed, and I would have had to spend the rest of my life with you forever. When I finished speaking, a tear slid down Cassandra's cheek. She nodded, her eyes red. Without another word, she turned and left, walking step by step into the distance. I shook my head and turned to find Victoria. In this life, no matter how fate might toy with me, I would only ever cherish the one who truly loved me. Goodbye, Cassandra. The end.